Hey guys, it's me, Carrie. I haven't gotten into this with you guys yet, but I feel like I want to. I kind of feel like just talking it out with you because I'm really kind of freaking out. I went and had my first mammogram in a really long time last Monday. Yes, last Monday. And today's Tuesday, so yeah, 8 days ago. And I was told, because I hadn't had a mammo in over 10 years, I am going to be 49 next month, so I really should have been doing them pretty much since the age of 40 on, like, annually. And I have had two prior. Like I said, one was about 10 years ago, or over 10 years ago, when we still lived in Florida. And the other one was when I was in, like, my 20s, because the doctor, like my regular GP or gyno, I don't remember who it was, thought they felt something funky, and I got really, really freaked out and scared, and they wanted to do a mammogram, which is very atypical to do on someone in their early 20s, but they did, and then that result came back inconclusive, and I was scared shitless, and they did further testing, and it turned out I just have lumpy breasts. But since I didn't have a mammogram within the last decade for them to refer back to, when they did my mammo last Monday, they said to me, now just be aware that because we don't have anything to compare, this is going to be like your baseline scan. Chances are we will call you back for further scans. And sure enough, they did. And of course, that freaked me out. But the radiologist who did the procedure actually said the same thing when I went in. She said, don't get nervous. It's very, very common for people to have to come back for a second set of scans, especially if we don't have a recent baseline to compare it to. It's like today is your baseline, and then next week we go deeper. Because I'm thinking, or next time we would go deeper. And a similar thing happened to my best friend, and she actually isn't getting her follow-up till like about a month after her initial scan. So I'm like, is this too soon to be going back like a week later, or a little over a week later? But they said when they scheduled it that didn't matter, that they're going to be doing a different type, I guess, of mammogram, different type of scans, and, different angles or whatever, because they think there's a lot of calcification in my breast tissue, and basically they're just, it's hard to see what's going on. So they need to, dig a little deeper. And I was pretty much not off the charts freaking out at that point. But then my gynecologist called around 6 that evening, and she left a message. And of course, it was 2 days after my scan. It was Wednesday, the one day a month that I do a writing workshop with some wonderful ladies on a Zoom. And I had my volume turned down. So I was like, fuck, I hope I didn't miss her. Because she said, I'm leaving the office soon, but call me. You can call me tomorrow. I'm like, oh, hell no. I want to talk to her today. So I called immediately. And luckily, I only missed the call by like 2 minutes. And she was still there. And basically what she said to me was, she reiterated what they, said at the imaging office, that, it's not atypical. Like, this is the most common call as a gynecologist that she has to make to people, is that, yes, you need follow-up breast scans. But then she said something that really freaked me the fuck out. Now, I know breast cancer is in my family on both sides. My paternal my paternal grandmother died of breast cancer a few months after I was born. So you're talking, I think August it was, in 1973. My aunt, who has since passed away from subsequent other issues, had breast cancer as well. And so have many other members on my mother's side of the family, but not like immediate family. Like, I started to say my great aunt, my mom's cousin, my mom's cousin's daughter. They were like, no, we don't need to hear any of that. No greats, no any of that. Just a grandmother on your dad's side and an aunt on your mom's side. So somehow, based on that and inconclusive breast scans, they told my gynecologist that whereas most women have typically a 25% chance of breast cancer in their lifetimes, which, hello, like, that's not fucking terrifying enough, I have a 50% chance. So I was like, what the fuck, hold the phone. And my gyno basically said, I don't understand how they drew that conclusion just based on, the little bit of family history they got from you, and the fact that you have a lot of calcification in your breasts. So that really worried me. And unfortunately, I know she was probably trying to just, treat me like a grown-up and keep me informed, but that is what really freaked me the fuck out. So in my mind, that immediately goes to, now every time I get a mammo for the rest of my life, there's a 50% chance they're going to tell me I have breast cancer. Thud, right? I may not even be correct in that assumption, and they may not be correct in that assumption. And my gynecologist was like, that just is a big leap for them to make, especially if your scans were inconclusive and they couldn't see anything. You may just have dense breasts. A lot of women do. And I said, you know, I vaguely recall that being mentioned even as early on as this, you know, the initial mammo I had in my 20s. She's like, well, that's really good then, because then that just may mean that that's the way your breasts are. It's not an uncommon thing. It's certainly far more likely as you age, but the fact that you think that that's always been an issue would indicate that, you know, it's even less to be concerned about. But I'm going tomorrow for my follow-up scans, and I'm freaking the fuck out. I just am so terrified. I have always had this feeling of foreboding, specifically about breast cancer. I don't know why. It's the same sense of foreboding that I had about whether or not I would be able to have children. And it turns out I was not able to have children. So in my mind, I'm going, well, my instincts on these things tend to be correct. I don't want to have, you know, I don't want to face that possibility. I want so much. I've never more in my life wanted to be wrong about a gut instinct. So I'm trying to just put positive vibes out to the universe. My breasts are healthy. They're just dense, like the rest of me. And they're going to do these follow-up scans. They're going to find that everything's a-okay. What my gyno also suggested was that I, from now on, you know, at least for a while, I continue to do my mammograms annually, which I will from now on, believe me, I will. This is a lesson learned. But alternate. Every 6 months, get the mammogram, and then 6 months later, get a breast MRI. So I'm definitely going to do that. She explained, you know, that there's small risk and that there's some people that have concern about the, you know, the dye or whatever it is that goes in your body to, you know, to get the scans correct. And you know, from her, best of her knowledge, you know, and all of the experience as a woman and as a gynecologist, she's spoken to many radiologists who say that they, for the most part, believe that any of that dye just excretes itself from your body and it's not harmful. And she basically said, without saying it, because she's obviously not going to tell me what to do, but the strong opinion I got was that if it were me, I would do it. And I trust her judgment. I think she's really smart and savvy. Again, I think she only gave me that additional information to make sure I was informed because she assumed I was a grown-up and I could handle it. Little does she know. But anyway, so yeah. So I'm going to get those follow-up scans tomorrow. And if it works anything like the initial mammogram did, I will probably have results within a couple of days. So I kind of wanted to bring this to your attention because it's obviously a very personal issue. Number one, because I would love for you guys all to send positive vibes and good energy and healthy energy and think positive thoughts. 9:30 Eastern time tomorrow is when my appointment is. So if you can concentrate those thoughts around that time, again, it'll be tomorrow. So tomorrow is 4/20. I think that's kind of funny, but it's April 20th at 9:30, like I said, a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But of course, by the time I get in and they actually start working on me, it'll probably be closer to 10 because, you know, when do doctors ever do things on time? But also because I want to make you aware that even if you aren't at any elevated risk due to family history, get the fucking mammograms done. It's really wise. It's, you know, ignorance is not bliss when it comes to your health. And I really, for a while, I just thought, well, if I don't know, then I can just live in denial and be, you know, shitty and grin happy. But that's so ridiculous because I could have something potentially wrong with me, God forbid, and not know and not be nipping it in the bud. Nip. But anyway, sorry, I'm like I said, I'm 12. I mentioned nips and breasts and whatever. But anyway, it's best to know. It's best to know one way or the other to put your mind at ease, which is, you know, hopefully, you know, the likelihood with my situation, but also to, God forbid, it turns out the other way, to get it handled, you know, get that shit done. Do whatever it is you need to do to be healthy. I spent so many years not giving a shit if I lived or died, quite frankly. I've never made an actual suicide attempt, but I've had suicidal ideation, oh my God, since I was really young, like a really young teenager, probably maybe even 12 or 13. But I've never made an attempt because I promised my mother and family members that I wouldn't, and I don't break promises. son of a bitch. But no, I'm kidding. I'm obviously, you know, suicide is not a laughing matter, but sometimes you laugh so you don't cry, right? But the irony, the great irony, is that I really like life, even though my life isn't all that. You know, we're broke. We live with my mother. We don't know where we're going to end up because eventually she's going to have to sell this house. You know, life is hard. We don't have, in spite of my having way too much shit, we don't have all the things. You know, we're not extravagant people. We don't live a wealthy lifestyle. I haven't had a job since 2007 because I wanted to like kill myself when I was at my last job. I was doing retail and I would bring booze to work with me in a water bottle, and I would sit in the restrooms on the top of the toilet tank with my feet on the seat and hide for like 20-30 minutes at a time instead of doing my job because I was just having panic attacks and freaking the fuck out. And I don't know why this switch happened. I know mental illness certainly doesn't get better or easier as you age, you know, quite the opposite. But the main gist of it is that I really fucking want to live now. I feel like I'm finally starting to. I feel like I'm finally starting to like myself a little. I've got incredibly loving, supportive, amazing people in my life who really make me feel like I'm worthwhile, and I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to die. And I really, really, really don't want to have breast cancer. I know it's survivable. I know it's treatable, but I really don't want that. I mean, who does? But I feel like I've been kicked in the head enough in 48 years, and I just don't want this to be another thing I have to overcome. So please, I beg of you, get your boobs squished. The actual experience is not that bad. It really isn't. It's uncomfortable. I wouldn't even say it's painful, at least not the last ones I had last week. They do 3D imaging now. It's much more accurate, I guess, for most people that don't have calcifications and dense breasts like me, where you can't see anything, because why would my tits be any less difficult than anything else in my life has been? But I really don't want to have this thing, and I really don't want to get this thing. So I urge you to please take care of that, ladies. And I mean, I don't know what the recommended age is even to start mammograms now. It's probably like 35. It's probably even lower. I know here on Long Island, the rates are higher than the national average. Lucky me. I don't know why that is, if it's environmental or what, but I'm really, really scared, guys. So I need you to please, if you're a praying person or just a good vibes person or whatever, just send all of that positive energy my way. Not positive as in we get a positive result that they find something, but positive, you know what I mean. I have to be clear because the universe has a sense of humor sometimes. I just want to find out that my breasts are healthy, that there's nothing to be concerned about, that I will, you know, this is my wake-up call. I will get my MRI done in October, and I will get my follow-up mammo again in April of next year, and continue ad infinitum if that's what's required, you know, because I don't want to ever have to deal with this thing. But anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you guys because I kind of was like tiptoeing around the issue, I think, in another video, and I said I would come back to it, and I never did. So for the 2 or 3 of you who might have been curious what I was referring to, now you know. And for the rest of you, now you know too. So anyway, yeah, that's your, you know, that's your TED Talk from Gary for today. Get your mammograms, please, please, please. I urge you, and take care of your health, you know, in whatever ways you can. I know financially it's really hard. I know insurance is tough. I mean, we have Medicaid, so it's not like we're, you know, considered the top of the heap when it comes to getting doctors, you know, doctor procedures and whatever, and exams and, you know, stuff taken care of. Fortunately, you know, I do have a really great gynecologist that I found about 5 or 6 years ago, and again, I trust her. She reminds me of Maya Bialik, which is funny. She doesn't really look like her, but personality-wise, like she's got that cadence in how she speaks, but also just, I don't know, her personality just reminds me so much of her. And not a character, but her, you know. I didn't even watch Big Bang Theory. I watched Blossom back in the day, but just the fact that she's really, really highly intelligent and, you know, has a good grasp of science and technology and all that. I trust her. I do. I don't necessarily know why she told me about that percentage, because I can't get that number out of my head, and I'm eagerly awaiting a call from her to say, oh, you know, we talked about it and I examined your scans and I don't think there's any reason to consider yourself more at risk, you know. That may not happen. But I am trying to think good thoughts, and of course I will keep you guys informed and let you know when the results come back, one way or the other. But we're not considering the other. We're only considering the good way, that everything's going to be a-okay. Like I said, that my breast tissue is just dense because I'm dense, you know. It's that's what it's got to be. But anyway, all right, guys, that's it for caring and sharing personal time today. And I love you all so much. I'll be back soon with more way less serious stuff. Bye, guys.